It is January and everybody shares their income reports and how much money they made on YouTube in the last year. It is so easy to get caught up in the earnings. What people don't talk about that often is how much it actually costs to run a YouTube channel. I'm a small YouTuber, and so in this video I wanted to share how much it costs to run my channel, as well as what's the cheapest way to start a YouTube channel, and also the most expensive channel that I have come across based on one of my favorite YouTubers. Hi, my name is Dan and I'm an expat and part-time YouTuber. I make videos about what it's like to be an expat and how to be a creator here on YouTube. Obviously, starting a YouTube channel has one of the lowest entry barriers and you don't really need much at all to get started. Most of us, I'd say, would have everything it needs to upload our first video today, but let's get into that later. How much it costs to run a channel can vary dramatically depending on whether you're doing it on your own or whether you have a team, and also based on what type of videos you're making. But let's start with what I spent on my YouTube channel. I'm largely doing everything by myself with outsourcing the occasional tasks. I'm a bit of a gearhead though, so my cost will look much higher than necessary because of all the unnecessary equipment that I buy, because of the illusion that I'm going to be a better creator for it. I'm going to add it all up to an annual cost, and just a quick disclaimer, when I list the cost, I'm not going to be including internet or power bills here, only what's directly related to creating videos and the channel itself. And I'm using USD as a currency and current prices for simplicity. Like, adding up all those costs, I wasn't sure what would come out of it, but let me tell you, it's a lot of money. Okay, number one, gear. With gear, I mean all the equipment that I need to make videos, so cameras, lights, audio stuff. Don't worry, I won't talk about every single piece of gear I have and how much it costs. That's not the video for it. I'll just quickly go through the stuff that I used for most of my videos. First is camera and lenses, and that cost me $5,444. I've got two cameras, one for sit-down videos, one for vlogging, and one lens. I'm only counting one lens here that I'm using for all my videos and not the lenses that I'm mainly using for photography. Then we have microphones and audio equipment, which cost me $1,261. And that's a variety of different microphones, including a shotgun mic, wireless mics, and a podcast setup, which all falls into this cost. Next up is lights, and I've got multiple LED lights, including a key light and a couple of accent lights, which you see behind me, and that all comes up to $589, which is pretty cheap actually, because you can spend a lot on lighting. Then we have tripods and mounting equipment, which cost me $334. I've got multiple tripods for different use cases, such as vlogging or these kind of sit-down videos, and I got a number of like mounting clamps for mounting lights, microphones and cameras to wherever they need to go. And lastly, within this gear category, I've got my computer and my screen, which is $4,319. I use a 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro for my editing, and while I have two external displays, I'm only counting the one here that I'm using mainly for editing. The other one I primarily use for my job. So the total cost comes up to $11,947 for gear. Deep breath, deep breath. Of course, gear is a one-off cost and doesn't occur continuously every month, unless you're like me and you keep buying new shit that you don't need. Okay, next up is software and subscriptions, which are all the applications and all the software that I'm using to create videos. So first up is the Adobe Creative Cloud, which includes Premiere Pro, which I use for video editing, Lightroom and Photoshop for photo editing, and also Adobe Express, which I mainly use for my thumbnails. That is $600 annually. Then I also have music subscriptions, so to use for background music in my videos or also as feature tracks in my vlogs. That is $429. I actually have two music subscriptions. One is MusicBed that I use more for vlogs because I think they have better music for those type of videos, and Epidemic Sound for these sit-down talking head videos and also sound effects. Then I have a subscription for stock footage, and I use ArtGrid, which has cinematic looking footage that I use for B-roll for some of my videos, and that is $299 a year. Next up is TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy is a YouTube analytics tool that I use to brainstorm video ideas or research keywords and also test thumbnails. That's $353 a year. I'm using the Legend plan, which is sort of the most expensive plan, but I should probably downgrade that because I'm actually not using it that much. Then I've got Genius Link, and that is a tool to generate geo-targeted links for my Amazon affiliate links that I put in my video description, and that is $60 a year. And then I've got my website subscription, which also includes my website domain and my business email address. And I use Squarespace for that, and that cost me $170 a year. So that is a total of $1,911 for subscriptions. Other than subscriptions, I also invested into digital products, and that includes animation templates, transitions, and animated fonts, and also LUTs for color grading, and that cost me $320. And the third category is freelancers. I used an editor for a couple of videos last year, which was great, and I also outsourced 2 video scripts just to test it out, but they weren't really great, so I didn't end up using them. But that came up to a total cost of $682 on freelancers. All right, and if we now add up all those costs from the 3 categories that I just talked about, so the gear and equipment, the software and subscriptions, and freelancers, the total cost of running my channel is $14,860. Now, $12,267 of this is for equipment and digital products that you can consider a one-off cost or a one-off investment. So if I wouldn't buy any other gear and just keep paying for software, subscriptions, and freelancers, it would be $2,593 each year to run my YouTube channel, which sounds a lot better than $14K. Oh boy. If you compare that with how much money my channel made last year, link up here, you can see that it's a massive loss maker. I mean, it's no surprise. I started this as a hobby, and I learned so much over the last 2 years. I improved my filmmaking skills, and I learned so much about YouTube itself. And I'm sure that if I continue uploading videos that are valuable to you guys, the channel will keep growing and will soon start paying for itself. If you want to look at the full list of all my expenses, head over to my blog where I included an entire list with prices for each item. The link is in the video description. And if you have a YouTube channel, let me know in the comments what you think how much you're spending each year, because I certainly never added up those numbers to a total, and it's a lot. Now let's look at the cheapest and most expensive ways of running or starting a YouTube channel. The cheapest is probably $0, I'd say. As mentioned earlier, I think every one of us has everything we need to start uploading videos to YouTube. Most of us have a smartphone that has a camera, and the audio quality is decent on those newer phones. And you can also film during daylight or with available light, so you don't need to spend any money on artificial lighting. And there are also free editing tools available, such as iMovie if you're on a Mac, or if you're editing on your phone, there are apps that have free versions or can be purchased for a small fee. If you want to script your videos, you can simply use any available notes app that you have on your computer or your phone. And even if you want to take it up a notch and plan, script, and schedule your videos in advance, you can use productivity tools such as Notion, which is incredibly powerful and free for personal use. That's the one I use to plan all my videos and to capture my video ideas. Okay, now the most expensive way of running a channel, and I'll be using for this a YouTuber I'm following and who has shared their expenses in a video before. His name is Ali Abdaal. He started his channel teaching medical students how to study for exams and is now a full-on productivity and self-development YouTuber with over 3.7 million subscribers. I will be using his 2021 YouTube expenses, as there isn't a video about what he paid for his channel in 2022 yet. Again, I'm sure this can vary so much depending on how big the YouTuber's team is and what type of videos they are creating, but I'm using Ali here as an example that I personally have come across. Put your guesses in the comments below as to what you believe how much big YouTubers pay per year to run their channels. Okay, here are Ali's expenses. So first is salaries, which is $501,987, and That is for 4 to 8 people that he employed throughout 2021, plus freelancers and consultants. Another expense is his YouTube course, the Part-Time YouTuber Academy, which is a course that I took in 2021 and that teaches people how to do YouTube as a side hustle. And that cost him $197,678 to run. Next up is workspace and rent, because he rents a studio in London for him and his team, and he also had a WeWork subscription, and that would be an annual cost of $182,777. It wasn't actually that much for him in that particular year because he only moved into his studio in the second half of the year, but I still used that annual figure. Okay, number 4 is food, and apparently he spent $12,000 across the year on food for, guests that come to the office and studio, and also staff. The 5th cost category is equipment and general supplies. So that also includes all the tech, all the computers, cameras, and all that stuff, and all kind of office supplies. And that came up to $120,252. Next up is subscriptions and software, where he spent $49,755. So that's a lot more than my $1,900. He also spent money on coaching for himself and his team, which came up to $74,644. And then business travel, $18,540. And lastly, taxes and fees, which was $195,941. So that adds up to a total of $1,353,574. In his video, he actually said it's over 1.5 million, but the numbers he's given don't really add up to that. So I just used the individual figures to come up with that total. Now, this number would be a lot higher in 2022, as the size of his team has grown significantly and more than doubled since he made that video. And also, this is 1.35 million in expenses based on over $4 million in revenue. So while the expenses seem incredibly high, the profit for him and his YouTube business were even higher. If you want to see the video where I break down the money I earned through YouTube last year, I'll link it up here for you. It's definitely a loss-making endeavor at present, but it's a hobby, it's creative, and I'm having fun. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe and hit the bell if you want to stick around, and like the video if you found it valuable. And I hope I'll see you here again soon. Take care.